yellow card.
Yo. Yo.
We're good. Let's turn one on. Which one are you?
I think I'm left one.
Okay. You have this one just up?
Yeah, left. Make sure they're not.
Oh. I'll turn this one on then. For like sound.
So my lights off.
Yeah. Can this move? Sorry. I'm like trying to.
Wait, Cod. How can I see what I do? What? It'll be on the computer.
Kaj, what are you doing right now?
Nothing.
Can you help him produce?
Help you what?
Can you help him produce, please?
Sure.
Teach him.
Yeah, I can't. I have to take pictures.
Remove your hats for the presentation of colors as we honor America with the performance of our national anthem.
First minute.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the introduction of tonight's starting lineups. First, for the visiting Knights. These juniors, number 5, Leslie Garcia. A sophomore, number 10, Lee Dixon. A junior, number 5, Lauren Moore. And a sophomore, number 30, Marga Caldas. And the Knights are coached by Isaiah Dell.
What the?
welcome into the den for today's girls varsity matchup between your Westview Wolverines and Lincoln Southeast. We are just a few seconds away from tip-off. Grayson, what are you looking to during this game?
Well, what kind of jumped off the page is this feels like a game where in some ways this should be a game Westview could easily win, but I don't think that Lincoln Southeast feels that at all. They play a completely different schedule, both of these teams, and Lincoln Southeast definitely coming in, not counting themselves out at all.
Bailey and Garcia for the tip-off.
Another big standout's going to be Westview. A lot of their strong wings and bigs, but a lot of the guard play from Lincoln Southeast, that's where they come from. And the standout's Aviary Graves, 13.9 points per game.
Kellner gets the tip-off. Wolverines start on offense, pass to Williams. Williams looks to drive to the basket, back out to the three-point line. Fierro looks to shoot. Looking for somewhere to go, pass that to Williams. Williams pump fakes, shoots the three, and she has it! Williams with the hot start. We are back. Lincoln Southeast on offense.
Ball into Graves. Out to Horn driving in. Right back from Graves.
Fierro bringing the ball up the court, passes to Kellner. Kellner over to Bailey. Bailey back to Fierro. Nice movement around the three-point line. Ross goes towards the basket, and the ball is stolen. Lincoln East basketball.
3-pointers for both teams early, and the threes coming from, it's arguable, but probably the two best players playing. Those are the two standouts, Stella and Aviary Graves.
Kellner puts up the three, not there, and it will be Wolverine basketball. Fierro bringing the ball to the court, passes to Williams, back to Ross, over to Kellner, back to Williams in the corner for free, and she's good! Williams with all 6 points for the Wolverines so far. Lincoln Southeast passing around the three-point line, over to Garcia. Garcia puts it up, and she has it! 4-3, both teams just exchanging three-pointers so far. Bailey puts it up, not there, rebounded by Southeast.
Don't be deceived by Kaylin Bailey's size. She can shoot, knock down multiple threes versus Millard South.
Fierro bringing the ball to the court, up to Kellner. Kellner back to Fierro around the three-point line, over to Williams. Williams puts it up again, and she has it! Williams 9 points in the first quarter.
Some nights players just have it. Already looking like it might be one of those nights for Stella.
Fierro towards the basket, puts it up. Not quite there, rebounded. And when Williams is hot from the three-point line, that's how you know the Wolverines are going to have a good night.
Yeah, offense runs through her. She's knocking down shots. Everybody else will feel good. And that great start so far.
Over to Horn. Horn over to Graves. In the corner with Dixon. Dixon looks to drive towards the basket. Passes back out to Calness. Calness puts it up. And she has it. Just a great looking three-pointer. Wolverines down 9-11. Out to Ross. Ross looking for somewhere to go. Over to Kellner. He looks for the three but doesn't shoot it. Fierro back to Ross. Across to Bailey as she drives towards the basket. Puts up a shot. Not quite there. Rebounded by Southeast.
Didn't go down, but good shot from Kaylin. Needing to be aggressive. That's where she's going to get a lot of her points.
Over to Garcia. Garcia back to Calness. Calness to Graves. Across the line. Put into the paint. Almost taken by Bailey. Over to Dixon. Dixon to Horn for three. And she has it. Both teams on fire from three tonight. Almost stolen, but Fierro takes it back, takes it to the bucket. Shot just off. Not able to get much going inside the paint. And another bucket by Graves to put the Knights up 16-9.
Graves showing what she can do with a three-point earlier than that bucket.
The Wolverines, after getting hot early, they have just stalled here. As Rempe and Catrone check in along with Smith.
Three lineup changes there for Westview.
Graves to Horn. Horn heavily guarded by Williams. Over to Olds. Olds back out to Horn. Tight defense by Williams. Horn puts it back up, rebounded by Rempe. Rempe out to Williams. Williams up for three. And she has her fourth one of the night. Knights still up 16-12, but Wolverines gaining momentum.
She averages 13. That's already 12 points right up to her average.
She has all of the Wolverines' points so far.
Checking back in for the Knights, Tim Dixon.
Pass into Dixon. Dixon guarded by Rempe. Dixon passes to Olds. Olds. And they will call it Westview's way. McKenna Rempe taking the charge.
That's what Westview needs to do all night. Force turnovers like that. Like if you got to get to the ground, do it. Just being physical. And right there, a little too physical for Lincoln Southeast.
Fierro bringing the ball up the court. She decides to go fast. Passes it out to Catrone. Catrone over to Rempe. Rempe back to Fierro. Over to Smith. To Catrone. Back to the corner with Fierro. Not quite there. And they will be out. Lincoln Southeast ball.
Fierro for three early, but not horrible looks. Gotta hope that those can get knocked down soon.
Westview with the press. Rempe dives for the ball. Over to Riker. Riker takes it back out. Passes over to Calness. Calness back out. As Olds drives towards the hoop, not quite there. They save the ball. Back around the three-point line. Riker, not quite there for three. Rebounded by Riker. And they will call the foul on Westview, on Stella Williams, her first of the night.
What a possession right there. People falling, and then the good possession, the good contest at the end. Not just 10 girls out there just playing aggressive.
Riker playing physical, going after her own rebounds. Back to the three-point line, up for Calness, not quite there. Still rebounded by Riker, out to Calness, over, another three put up, and she has it. Dixon with that three.
2 second chance opportunities, and it bites Westview right there. Got a rebound.
Rempe pivots to Catrone. Catrone over Smith. Smith puts up the three, and she has it. All of Westview's points coming from three so far tonight. The Knights up 19-15. Riker bringing the ball up. Rempe deflects it. Still Lincoln Southeast ball, but great hustle by Rempe.
Watching Rempe guard 90 feet all down the court, just hair on fire the whole time, plays super aggressive.
That's one thing about her. She is not going to let anyone get past her if she could handle it. Maya Sawyer in for the Wolverines. So there are two sophomores in for this Westview team.
Yeah, full lineup of backups right now for Westview. Let's see what they got.
out around the three-point line. As they drive towards the bucket, Garcia passes it out. A three is put up by Calness. Air ball rebounded by Catrone.
Good contest there from Saylor.
Nice pass to Smith as she has the easy layup. Knights up 19-17, only a 2-point game.
5 points for Smith. Good play on both sides of the ball.
Horn, guarded by Catrone, out to the three-point line with Dixon. Dixon passes over to Horn. Up with the three, not there.
Oh.
As Potomac boxes out and misses the rebound. And the Knights go up 21-17.
Good box out from Potomac, but you gotta get the rebound.
Catrone goes to the bucket and she will be fouled. The Knights' second foul. That foul was called on Carlson, I believe. Rempe to inbound.
Refs are doing something, maybe who the foul was on. I mean, you could hear a pin drop and hear silent.
They changed the foul to Garcia. I think they had the wrong person. So Garcia with the foul, Rempe to inbound. Looking for somewhere to go into Smith, and the ball is deflected. Lincoln Southeast back on offense. Garcia down the court, over to Calness, passing it around the three-point line nicely. Back to, and they will call a travel on Lauren Horn, Wolverine basketball.
Rempe to Potomac. Catrone. Back to Rempe.
Over to Potomac. Back to Rempe, across to Sawyer.
10 seconds left on the shot clock.
She dribbles in and it is stolen. The Knights back in possession with 4 seconds left. She looks for the three, not quite there. And that will be the end of the first quarter. The Knights are up 21-17. We are back. The Knights are up 21-17. The Wolverines have possession. Kellner over to Fierro. Fierro puts up the three, and they will call a foul. But they will count the bucket for Fierro. And maintain Wolverine possession.
I don't know if I've really seen something like that, but big shot there for Lucy. 1 point game.
Fierro looking to inbound. Passes it to Sawyer. But Sawyer will be called with the travel. Knights up 21-20 with possession. Riley Riker back in for the Knights. Trapped in the corner, but she gets around Williams. Lauren Horn bringing the ball up the court. And I believe they will call Fierro with that foul.
Personal foul called on Miss Fierro, her first team's first.
I'm keeping my eyes on number 3, Graves. Played the whole first quarter, and she's back out there for the second. As I said, she's the player that this offense runs through. So far, 5 points. Graves passes to Horn.
Not there.
Counters for 3, no good, but the rebound from Horn. Physical right there.
They called the foul on Olivia Ross. It looked more like a jump ball to me.
Yeah, both players in there, but right there, the foul on Westview.
Over to Riker. Riker back to Calness. Calness passes it over to Garcia. Garcia puts it up. Not there. Rebounded by Sawyer. Fast break down the court. She stops. Layup not there. Rebounded by Southeast.
Sawyer maybe just a little scared to go straight up with it. Gets a little too patient there and can't make it.
Sawyer then with the block. Passes it over to Kellner. Over to Williams. Williams wide open with the 3. She is on fire 100% from the 3-point line tonight. Wolverines take the lead 23-21. Up with the 3, and she has it. Leslie Garcia puts the Knights ahead.
I mean, this has been so much fun to watch so far. The team knocked down a 3, the other team just responding.
Over to Ross. Ross over to Fierro. Fierro puts up the 3, and she sinks it. Nothing but 3s falling here tonight. Southeast with control. Passes it over to Garcia. Garcia drives towards the hoop. Layup not there, but she'll get her rebound. Graves puts it up for 3. Again, not there. Nice box out by Fierro as she gets the ball.
Great play from Macy Kellner to save it.
Over to Ross. Ross into Sawyer as she gets the layup.
Great pass from Ross.
Wolverines up 28-24. And Southeast calls a timeout after Sawyer's layup. The Wolverines are up 28-24. We will be back. Coming out of the timeout, Wolverines up 28-24. Lincoln Southeast with possession. Pass into Graves.
This is what Westview wants to do. They want to be physical, making possession hard for Lincoln Southeast, and that's what led to that run.
Horn looking for someone to pass to, but Williams blocking her down. Passes over to Garcia. She trips for a second. Over to Graves. Back to Horn. Shot clock running out as the 3 is put up, and she has it. Nice shot there. Over to Williams. Williams heading towards the basket with a nice easy layup. Wolverines up 30-27. Graves. Back over to Horn. Passes into the paint, but it will be out on Southwest.
Good defense there from Bailey, making it uncomfortable. Lucy Fierro bringing the ball up the court. Passing it to Stella.
Fierro over to Williams. Back to Fierro. Over to Catrone. Into Williams. But she loses the ball as they go into a jump ball, so it will be Knight's possession. Wolverines up 30-27. Inbounded to Dixon. Dixon guarded by Catrone. Over to Horn. Horn starts driving, passes it back out off of her foot. To Graves. Graves passes to Calness. Back around the three-point line. Dixon goes towards the basket. And it will be Westview basketball. Catrone taking the charge like she does so well.
Yeah, it feels like Catrone's kind of known for taking charge. Coming off the bench, she's always a dog bringing energy.
Williams and Ross out of the game. Smith and Rempe back in.
Westview up 3 now. Feels like a little bit of energy shifting their way. The crowd getting a little louder.
Just under 4 minutes left as Bailey puts up the three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Fierro. Pass back to Bailey. Over to Rempe as she drives towards back out to Smith. Out for the three. Not quite there. Nice hustle by Catrone. Back into Bailey as they are able to save it. Out to Fierro, but she will travel.
Sad way to end this possession, but so much hustle right there.
That's what wins games. Into Graves. Graves over to Horn. Guarded tightly by Rempe. And she goes towards the basket. Not quite there, rebounded by Smith. Quickly pass to Catrone. And she goes for the layup. Not quite there, rebounded by Bailey as she sinks it. Wolverines up 32-27, just over 3 minutes left. Graves to Horn. Nice hustle by Rempe. As she is pushed, but Horn puts up the three and she sinks it.
Rempe got sent flying there.
Pass over to Catrone. Rempe saves it into Smith, and she will be fouled.
I mean, the physicality just keeps coming both sides of the ball.
Foul called on Annika Carlson. Sailor Smith will go to the line. First free throw good. Smith 56% from the free throw line.
Smith at the free throw line. She told me before the game she eats Gushers before every game.
Hopefully that gives her some energy. As she sinks her second one, Wolverines up 34-30. Williams and Kellner back in for the Wolverines. 2:43 left in the first half. Rempe with some nice hustle, but it will remain Knights basketball.
Yeah, this is something I was questioning a bit. Who's going to come off the bench? Because the starting lineup's been good, but who's going to come off the bench? But these guards, mainly Catrone and Rempe, they just play with so much energy, so much dog off the bench, and that's really important.
Nolan bringing the ball up the court. And they will call the foul on Kalea Catrone. It will be Knights basketball. Wolverines up 34-30. Graves back in.
Graves out and back in quickly. The only 5 points so far. Westview doing a solid job containing her.
Pass in to Riker. Riker kind of chopped like a trauma, but passes it out to Olds. And
Good
it's
hands.
gotten by Williams. She's having a great game. Over to Rempe. Rempe over to Kellner. Pass it back to Rempe, up for three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Kellner. Pass back to Catrone. As the ball goes off her foot, and it will be nice basketball.
Good couple possessions for Macy Kellner, the deflection defensively, and then the offensive rebound there.
Wolverines up 34-30. 2:01 left. Rempe with tight defense. Something we've been saying all game with her. Horn trying to get it past midcourt. And that foul will be on Catrone. I believe her second. Fierro coming in. Horn to inbound.
Catrone seemed a little mad going to the bench there. She plays physical, but the physicality got the best of her right there with 2 fouls.
Horn passes across to Graves. Graves goes in, back out to Garcia. Flips it back out. Horn over to Olds. Olds goes towards the basket and tries to pass, but Garcia just doesn't have a hold of it. That will be a turnover to give it back to the Wolverines. Fierro passes to Rempe. Over to Kellner, back to Fierro. She looks for the three. Not quite there. Fighting for the rebound is Smith, and they will call her out. Not much scoring has happened in the last few minutes, just both teams playing really physical.
Both these teams are starting to settle in on defense early on, especially for Lincoln Southeast. Some wide open 3 opportunities, but right now both defenses tightening up.
Calness bringing the ball up court. Over to Horn. Horn backs up, looks for somewhere to pass. Fierro playing great defense. And that will be a turnover. Great defense there by Fierro.
Fierro is up in the face the whole time, nothing easy.
Rieker back in for the Knights and Stella Williams in for the Wolverines. So you're passing in Fierro. Fierro over to Williams. Over to Kellner, almost over her head. But Williams passes it to Kellner. Fierro passes to Smith. As she almost loses control. Lots of passings for the Wolverines tonight. Back to Fierro, she puts up the three. Not quite there. Fight for the rebound. And it will be out on Lauren Horn. Wolverine basketball with 33 seconds left. Williams passing to Fierro. Back on Smith fighting in the paint. Flips it to Williams. And it is stolen. The Knights, 25 seconds left to create something. Down 4.
Yep, looking like Graves who they want to get it to right here.
It will be the last shot of the first half, most likely. Graves passes to Olds. Olds drives towards the hoop. Layup not there. 3 seconds for the Wolverines. Smith puts up the three. Not quite there. At the end of the first half, Wolverines up 34-30.
Both
we will
teams
be
went
back.
cold there at the end, but there's a lot of physicality in the first half. Defense is starting to closing up. Shots aren't going to be easy in the second half, but that's how both these teams want it to be.
We will be back shortly for the second half of this game. We are back at the den for the start of the second half. The Wolverines are up 34-30.
I talked to Coach Simon, some of his focuses on this game. One thing was slowing down the guards, League of Southeast. Aviary Graves, who averages 14, just 5 so far, so a good job of that.
Fierro over to Williams. Williams over to Fierro. Pump fakes pass it to Kellner. Over to Ross. Back to Williams. Puts up the three. Not there. Rebounded by Fierro.
That's a rare miss for Stella Williams with the start she had.
Fierro. They will call Fierro for the travel. Not a great start for the Wolverines. It will be night basketball.
Travel is definitely an issue so far for Westview. One of those things that where I feel like Westview could be up a little more. That's one of those things that's you're making it only just a 4-point game.
Over to Horn. Horn looks like someone to pass. Over to Kalmus. They drive towards the hoop, back out. Passes across to Horn. Horn puts up the three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Fierro.
Right there, good rebound for Westview.
Up by Kellner. And she has it.
Nice.
First points of the second half are by Kellner. Wolverines up 37-30.
That's Kellner's first bucket so far. If she can get herself into this game, that'll be huge for Westview.
Passing on the 3-point line. Over to Horn. Horn drives towards the basket. As she is blocked by Bailey, but it will remain night basketball. Dixon to inbound. Back over pump fakes. As Dixon drives towards the hoop, but she loses the basketball and she will travel.
Lucy Fierro not fooled by any of those moves right there.
Wolverines up 37-30. Fierro over to Bailey. Bailey over to Kellner. Passes it back to Fierro. Fierro up for three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Ross. Nice offensive rebounding by the Wolverines. Up for Bailey. Again, not there. Rebounded by Kellner though. Again to Bailey. Not there, but back to Williams. And they sink it. Great rebounding by the Wolverines.
Way to stay in there.
Passing around. Horn over. They put up the three. And she sinks it. Wolverines up 39-33. And Southeast calls a 30-minute timeout. We will be back.
30 seconds.
We are back. Wolverines up 39-33. Wolverines with possession.
2 minutes down in this quarter, and to end the second quarter, at least 4 minutes. Lincoln Southeast went without scoring, so a big three right there.
Fierro bringing the ball up the court. Pass over to Williams. Williams back to Fierro. Into Bailey. Back out to Fierro. Over to Bailey. Inside to Ross. And they will call the foul on number 21. Madison Olds. Wolverines will still have possession up by 6. Inbounded to Bailey. Bailey going towards the hoop. As she shoots it.
That's a great shot right there from Bailey. Just 4 points. Another player who, if she can get hot in this second half, Westview will run away with it.
Over to Graves. Passing it around. Back out. As she goes towards the hoop. Passes it back to the 3-point line. Up for Horn. Not quite there. Rebounded by Riker. They will look to reset. Back over to Calvin. Inside Graves. Up for the layup.
Wow.
Does not have it. Only with the rebound.
Rough night so far for Graves. Still just at 5 points. Way lower than her averages.
Not quite there with the 3. Almost rebounded by Horn, but she doesn't have it. The Wolverines retake control. Fierro puts up the 3, and she sinks it. Wolverines back on fire with the 3. And now Westview will take a 30-second timeout. They are up 44-33. We'll be back. Opponent for Westview. Wolverines up 44-33.
The 3 last possession for Lucy Fierro, and just a huge mistake from Lincoln Southeast. You thought you had the rebound, but then it bounces out in the second chance opportunity, and those are those mistakes that you just can't make.
Graves bringing the ball up the court, defended by Fierro. Passed over to Dixon. Deflected. Off of Rempe, I believe. Or made Mike basketball. Passed in. Rempe with nice defense. Pass around the... Sailor Smith in for the Wolverines. Pass into Riker. Back over to Dixon. Rempe almost steals the ball, but they will call her for the foul.
I mean, when Rempe gets subbed in, it feels like the game just changes. Her physicality.
That's something she's always played with too. Even back in middle school, watching her play, she would never let someone get past her if she could keep them in front of her. Just something that really gives her an advantage against a lot of teams.
Yeah, and you can see defensively, Westview playing really good defensively, and it feels like that just breeds onto the other players.
Garcia passes over to Dixon. She loses the ball for a second. Guarded by Rempe. Pass over to Riker. And they will call the foul on the night. They will turn the ball over. It's a mistake that you can't have. Wolverines up 44-33.
Once again, I talked to Simon before the game, and a word he was using was tough. He wanted his team to be tough, and so far, especially in this third quarter, showing that off.
Over to Sawyer, but she will travel. Back-to-back turnovers by these teams.
Sawyer, the sophomore, some pretty solid plays defensively, but just a few mistakes offensively. Young player.
Horn bringing the ball up the court. Pass it over to Graves. Looks for someone to pass. Gets it, tries to get it in the Olds. Pass just over her, but it will remain light basketball. Brecklin Coltrane, another sophomore, in for the Wolverines, so all 3 sophomores on this team in. In the Olds. Being passed around. Garcia, Calness. She puts it up, not there. Rebounded by Smith. Passed over to Catrone. Rumpy into Sawyer. Almost loses the ball, but remains control. Over to Smith, out to Coltrane. Back to Catrone as she pump fakes. Over to Sailor. Up for Coltrane. Not quite there. Good hustle by Coltrane. But Knights will have the basketball. Fast movement. Over to Garcia, she puts up the three, and she sinks it.
Huge three right there. Lincoln Southeast needed that.
Puts them within 10. They will call a foul on Lincoln Southeast, I think. Sending Catrone to the free throw line. Catrone 57% from the free throw line. Shooting 2. Sinks her first one. Second shot coming for Catrone. This is her second one. Rebounded by Smith, though.
Great hustle from Smith.
Out to Coltrane. Coltrane taking it in. Back out to Catrone. She puts up the three, and she sinks it. Another three for these Wolverines, putting them up. And great hustle by Rempe gets them back on offense.
Everything's starting to fall apart from Lincoln Southeast. Westview taking advantage.
This is where you see the physicality really start to show and be in favor of the Wolverines. They are up 43 to 36. Coltrane into Sawyer. They will call it out on Southeast.
Really good third quarter so far for Westview. And these two teams played last year. It was at Lincoln Southeast, and Westview won that game. That game was a really strong first half, but right now, really strong second half so far for Westview.
Nice shot by Rumpy, just not there. And is gotten by Graves. Pass too high, intended for Caldas. Another turnover for the Knights.
Graves, she's looking a little bit too indecisive with the ball at points. I was expecting more aggression, especially averaging 14 points. She's had, besides her first 2 games of the season where she had 5 in most of those games, 10 plus every game since, but tonight just 5.
Williams in for Rempe. Sawyer to Coltrane. Catrone pump fakes. Over. Coltrane puts up the three, not quite there. Sawyer goes for the rebound, and she hits it off of Trinity Nolan. So it will be Westview basketball.
Definitely evident, Maya Sawyer, maybe not some of those box score stats, things like points, but making a lot of plays that don't show up on the box score. Really good hustle as she hits the bench.
Something that all 3 of the sophomores bring. Into Williams. She passes it back to Catrone. Catrone into Podomic. Not quite there, still Wolverine basketball. 1:28 left in the third quarter. Riley Riker back in for Lincoln Southeast. Into Williams. Williams out to Coltrane. And she drives towards the basket. And she has that basket. Her first of the night. Wolverines up 50 to 36.
Really nice finish right there, high off the glass.
Over to Horn. Horn passes it to Calmus. Back over to Graves. Horn puts up the three. And it is airballed. It will be Wolverine basketball.
That shot right there, I mean, that just sums up this third quarter for Lincoln Southeast. Nothing going their way.
She had a wide open shot too, just not able to make it fall. And with those turnovers that they had, those are shots that you have to see fall if you're going to make those turnovers.
Yeah.
Kellner over to Williams. Puts up a shot. Not quite there. Rebounded by Podomic. Puts it back to Williams.
Williams just kind of flicked it out there.
Over to Kellner. She puts up the three. Not quite there. Almost rebounded by Wolverines, but not. Calness going fast, but is stopped at the basket.
Good job, Westview, to get back on defense.
Graves, defended by Coltrane. Back out to Calnus. Calnus puts up a shot, and she sinks it. Wolverines up 50-39, 12 seconds left.
That's 13 points for Calnus. A few threes, she's playing the best for Lincoln Southeast so far.
Up for Kellner, and she sinks the three. Back-to-back threes, doesn't staging it as the time runs out. The Wolverines are up 53-39 at the top of the fourth.
Bit of an eruption right there from the crowd. Westview, an amazing third quarter, just 9 points for Lincoln Southeast. And right now, Westview fully in control.
We will be back. We are back. Wolverines up 53-39 at the top of the fourth. Graves pump fakes back over to Dixon. Dixon back to Garcia. Looking for someone to pass. She gets it back to Dixon. Pass around the three-point line. As Horn puts up a three and she sinks it. Southeast with a lot of motivation after a very fired up coach.
Yeah.
In that break.
I mean, the bank was open right there. It was high off the glass.
Williams' pass is deflected by Garcia. She takes the ball up the court. She stops, letting the offense catch up with her. No shot, but there will be a foul called on Fierro. Coming into the fourth quarter, the Wolverines really need to keep their physicality to try and keep these Knights off of their set.
Yeah, they want to play physical, but that can't lead to mistakes. The turnover early.
Horn puts up the three and she sinks it. Knights are slowly creeping back up on the Wolverines.
Lincoln Southeast isn't going to go anywhere.
Ross with the easy layup. Nice pass by Bailey.
Good job creating the fast break by Westview.
Horn over to Calnus. Calnus passes to Garcia. Stolen by Bailey. As she looks to create something here. Goes up for the layup. Not quite there.
Just rolled out. Unlucky roll for Bailey.
Looks like Williams wanted to go for the jump ball. Tonight's coach mad that a foul wasn't called. They have possession, however. Up for Calnus. Shot isn't quite there, but it is passed back to Kellner. Looks like the ref gives a warning to the Knights bench. Not happy with the intensity coming from there.
And that's just, you can't do that for Lincoln Southeast because you're starting to get back. It's a 10-point game, but if any technical foul, anything like that, that'll get you right out the game.
And they will call that out on Bailey. So it will be night basketball. We'll see if Southeast can get anything working here. into Dixon. Over to Horn. The ball is lost. Wolverines regain possession. Fierro bringing the ball up the court.
Just bad hands there. Westview didn't even really force that turnover.
Williams over to Fierro. Back her on the three-point line. Back to Ross. As she will shoot the three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Kalmus. Graves stopping, passing. Horn looking for somewhere to go. Back around to Kalmus. Inside the paint to Garcia as she gets under the basket, but the shot isn't there. Just bad ball control, really, by the Knights. Into Ross under the basket. She was all alone under there.
That's just great offense right there. Great pass, great finish.
They will call a foul. The Wolverines up 57-45. Just over 5 minutes left in this game.
Just like if Lincoln Southeast wants to get back into this, Graves needs to get going. Once again, I keep saying it's just 5 points.
She is someone who they've relied on heavily this season.
And I mean, she had 25 points recently.
Wow.
That's a lot. She's on a really hot stretch, but tonight just hasn't made too many plays.
Wolverine defense locking her down. It's inside to Old, but it will be stolen. Fierro looking to go fast down the court as she will stop and put up a shot. Not quite there, but she will get her rebound. Out to Williams for three. Yeah, she sinks it. Williams cannot miss tonight. Wolverines up 60-45. 4:35 left in the game. Over to Dixon. Passes it down. Back out to Horn. As she drives towards the basket, puts up a shot. Not quite there. Rebounded by Smith.
We're talking about players stepping up for Lincoln Southeast, but no question at all with Westview. Amazing night for Stella Williams so far.
And that's one thing you cannot do in the situation is foul. Sending Bailey to the free throw line to shoot two. Foul called on Riley Riker. Bailey misses her first free throw. She's 57% from the line this season so far.
Kaylin Bailey at the free throw line. She's a state champion in discus track season coming up after basketball.
She's just an all-around great athlete.
Yup.
And I think all of these things really prepare her for basketball and for her to be so physical. She sinks her second one. Wolverines up 61-45. Rempe and Williams, Jaylee Williams in for Westview. And they call a foul on Rempe right away. Also in for Westview is Mackenzie James.
Yeah, Mackenzie James, and so is Jayleana Williams.
Called a foul on Westview.
A few deeper on the bench players getting in for Westview. They're up 16 right now, starting to feel really good.
Westview with 4 fouls, heading towards that bonus for the Knights. Pass it to Kalmus. Over to Dixon. Back to Kalmus. She puts up the three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Williams. Leaving some Knights players in the backcourt. Control. Pass over to Williams. Williams to Rempe. Rempe puts up the three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Riker. And Williams will be called with the foul, sending the Knights into the bonus.
All right, here, I got this.
At the line, and the bonus
Riker will head to the line, shooting 2. She sinks her first one.
Riley Riker at the line, a sophomore. I'm looking at this Lincoln Southeast roster right now, just 2 seniors for them.
A very young team that I could for sure see developing to be great. Catrone, over to Williams. Williams back to Rempe. Rempe almost loses the ball, gets it back, aimed, but James cannot control it. Garcia asking for them to come close. She didn't want that pass. Graves pushing through James. Dixon over to Calmus. Calmus back out to Riker. A lot of movement around the 3-point line. Heavily guarded too by the Wolverines. And it's stolen by James. And they will call a foul on the Knights. On Tinley Dixon.
Nice play there from Mackenzie James. Clock continuing to run out for Lincoln Southeast.
And I know we said it all night, but even these bench players coming in just play so physical. It's unlike really any other team in the Metro. James puts up the 3, and she sinks it! James on fire right now. Off the bench, Wolverines up 64-46. Dixon looking for somewhere to pass. They put up the 3, not quite there, rebounded by Smith. Some of the 3 looks so far tonight by the Knights haven't been great, as Smith gets the easy layup. As the Wolverines are pulling away, up 66-46.
Bit of a stand from the Westview crowd, just really proud of how the second half's gone for them.
Over to Calmus, she puts up the 3, and she sinks it. Looking to make a comeback with 1:54 left in the game. It looks like Graves is just hitting the eye. Called a no foul on Jaylee Williams, her second. Excuse me, her third.
Despite the rough night for Lincoln Southeast, it's been a really good game for the sophomore Counans. It's number 30 with 16 points. I think that stood out for me for Counans. Looking at her stats, she had, I don't know about with this game, the stats, but before this game, 17 assists, just one turnover. That really stood out for me.
A very reliable player for the Knights, which is something that they could have used tonight. Graves going to shoot 2. Misses her first one.
Yeah, that's the kind of night it's been for Graves.
A lot of subs here in the den.
Yeah, full lineup of bench players for Westview. Feeling really good about how they performed tonight.
Also misses her second shot, but it's rebounding. So Knights regain control. The 3 is not there, but again is rebounded by Olds as she will go to the line. Wolverines up 66-49, 1:46 left in the game.
I mean, that's just, I feel like I'm almost being rude at this point, but that's just a 9-minute possession for Graves, and just continuing that on to maybe not the best night for her.
Olds' first shot is good. Wolverines up by 16 points. Second shot, she also sinks it. Only down 15. And the pass from James is stolen. Dixon drives towards the hoop. Just not there. Rebounded by Olds. Back out to Horn. She shoots the 3. Not there, off the backboard, so it will be Westview basketball.
That's a rough bounce off the three, going out of bounds. Not even a chance for another opportunity.
Inbounded to James. Nice looking around a press, maybe. Back over to Williams. Over to Podomac. James puts up the three, and she sinks it! James on fire off the bench tonight. Wolverines up 69 to 41. 51, excuse me. 105 left in the game. Just not a great pass will give the Wolverines possession.
I mean, just a minute left, you think maybe the game will calm down a little bit, but these bench players for Westview, I mean, they're just going to continue to play hard until that horn sounds.
Williams over to Podomac. Back to Coltrane. Podomac passes in James. She goes for the layup. Not quite there. Rebounded by Horn. Horn to Calness. Back around to Dixon. Inside the paint. Pass it back out as she puts up the three. Not quite there. Rebounded by Williams. And I believe they will slow it down. Shot clock is off.
Yeah, looks like that'll do it. Amazing game for Westview, and definitely the MVP of the game going to be Stella Williams with 6 threes, I believe. Amazing play from her.
She really started the momentum for this team and helped them get up by this many points, allowing them to really control the game and play their offense however they wanted.
Yeah, she's the one with most of the points, but you got to shout out so many other players who not on the box score, but a lot of just good hustle defense. Players like McKenna Rempe off the bench, just playing so hard and aggressive. And that's what it all comes down to when your top players are making their shots. Everybody else just needs to play defense, and especially in that second half, really, really good.
Every single player got off the bench tonight, and the sport is a 69 to 51 win. Wolverine, we will be back here on Thursday. Thank you for listening.
welcome back to the den tonight, folks. I'm one of your commentators, Jordan Farmer, here with
Cos Pierce.
and today we got a good one tonight. We have Westview High versus Lincoln Southeast. The last two times these teams met, it was in January of 2025, and Westview won 77-60. This is a non-conference Class A matchup between two teams. Westview on a 4-game home win streak, averaging 68.5 points per game. Lincoln Southeast on a 4-game road win streak, averaging 72.8 points per game. So one streak will end tonight, and it'll be a story of home court versus road confidence.
Yeah, I think in order for Westview to have a pretty good chance to win, I feel they have to make tough shots, grab the boards, and make sure Lincoln Southeast can't get the ball to their playmakers.
Yeah, Westview is a very guard-driven team. They disrupt defensively, and they have a balanced scoring technique. And Lincoln Southeast, on the other hand, their identity is a more efficient offense. They have very physical wings, and they have a lot of discipline spacing. Their coaches do a great job of getting guys open in space and making those plays. And I think they're a little reminiscent of Nebraska basketball. They do a great job of that down there at UNL, and as you've seen, they're undefeated right now and ranked number 8 according to Associated Press. So I think it's going to be a great matchup between two teams that are really gritty, and they want it. And the atmosphere is going to be electrifying tonight.
Yes, sir. Couldn't have said it better myself. I completely agree.
Hey, who's on the roaming camera?
Alex, of course, and you don't have a name.
So some key matchups to look for tonight. E.J. Swindle and Javis Johnson out of Lincoln Southeast. And E.J. Swindle, a freshman, both freshmen actually. They're very disciplined players. They both contribute greatly to the team. E.J. Swindle has been a great player. He's very speedy, and he's been very good at moving the ball and getting assists on the court and really taking control out there. And Javis Johnson, on the other hand, is almost the same type of player, but very lankier player. So it'll be a great matchup to look for tonight. And, you know, keep your eyes on both of those freshmen there, making a difference in both of these teams.
Lance Smith over to Andre. Patterson looking to make something work. Pass is tipped, and it's Lincoln Southeast ball. And the layup is just short. Lance Smith with the rebound. Over to Patterson. Andre with the layup, and that's your first bucket of the night.
Yeah, Lincoln Southeast came out ready to ball. You know, Westview was kind of coming out a little slower. Lincoln Southeast changed that pace immediately, and that's what they do. They have a very identity of coming out and taking control immediately, but Westview has counterattacked that, and they're matching their speed right now. And I, expect to see that going forward.
Regan Hollingsworth with the three.
Regan Hollingsworth, a really reliable guy for Westview, and if Westview can knock down these threes early, it's going to be a great night for them.
As it's Westview ball based off the tip, what do you think would be your favorite matchup of the night between both players, other than E.J. Swindle versus Javis Johnson? What do you think is going to be your favorite matchup other than E.J. Swindle and Javis Johnson? As Hollingsworth able to bury the three.
Again, one of the most reliable guys on the team. They're drowning these threes right now. They're just doing what he does. Regan's Hollingsworth. And it is electrifying right now. But yeah, like you said, another key matchup I'm looking at really is, Zion Patterson. He's a veteran presence. He knows the game through in and out, and he's a combo guard, and he's surprisingly lanky, and he can get up and grab boards when he needs to, and he's not afraid to make plays. And another one is, Fredericks on Southeast. He's a go-to scorer. He is averaging 59% from the field goal, 83% from free throws, so he's a very comfortable late clock shooter, and I like to see those two go at it.
Yes, sir. Grant Fredericks not able to make the
And there you go, right there, those two. They're going to be at it on each other all night.
Lance Smith over the Regan again.
Regan Hollingsworth.
And he's able to bury another three.
It's going to be a long game for Southeast if Westview keeps this energy up. I believe truly that momentum is everything, and that possession tells you who wants it tonight.
Totally. I mean, this is what you've been saying all day. Guard play. That's what it's going to come down to in the end.
Yeah, most definitely. And you can hear the student section shouting overrated as Lincoln Southeast is 8-1, Westview is 8-3. And Lincoln Southeast has had a pretty good season coming into Westview right now, and they're hoping to leave with a win, but Westview's going to make it hard on them tonight.
Yes, sir. I also love how freshmen are able to make a big impact on this team. There's not a total dominance. There's young players, there's senior players, and there's even some sophomores and juniors. I love the balance.
That's great. That's great for this team. Going forward. Versatility. You have different players with different skill sets, and it really helps. Control the foundation of the team in terms of how they can play against different teams and how they can match up better against different teams.
As Rowan Lambert able to bury the three in the corner. I mean, that's your guy. He's going to have to make some tough buckets today if they want to keep the momentum going. As the pass goes awry. Looking to make something happen. Javis Johnson over to Roman Lambert, who just buried the three. Pass over in the corner. Javis Johnson. Over to his big man. Ball goes free, and EJ Swindle has it. Open, and it's far. And they call a jump ball.
Southeast right now is having a tough time, finding open space. This Westview zone defense has been, their pinnacle of, keep staying with those tough teams that they've had to play from the start, from the get-go of this year. And this is their bread and butter, and they're going to stick with it, I believe, tonight, because Lincoln Southeast is so good at finding space, especially in those man-to-man coverages that teams love to run against these lankier teams like Southeast.
Wilborn with the layup, able to extend this Wolverine lead by 10. Andre been the real bucket getter the past couple of games. Take the charge, and it's Wolverines' ball.
And Westview's bench loving that call right now.
That would be Lance. Wilborn over to Regan, over to Griggs. Pass gets tipped. There's a foul. Sincere Walker Brown with the foul. He's been the real rebounder, the guy that is not afraid to get these tough rebounds and attack the opposing glass.
Yeah, Sincere. He's the quiet impact guy. He's a freshman, right? And he's a power forward. And he's 6'7", right? He's a tall guy. He's a tall kid, especially for how young he is. And he's their defensive anchor. I truly believe in. He alters shots even when he doesn't block them. So it's just that length that gives him that.
Lance Smith with the steal
that ability
on the fast break, and he gets the
and
jam.
He goes top deck with that one. Lance Smith, that's their glue guy right there. He does a little bit of everything.
Totally.
Right? He keeps the team together.
Lance Smith's going to take the charge. I mean, that just proves your point. He is the guy who will do anything.
Yeah.
He'll have an absolute jam on the fast break, get back on defense, and take a charge.
Yeah, most definitely. 11 for Westview. Lance Smith, he's a senior. And he transferred in from Millard North, and he's been making an impact greatly on this team. And he really came in changing the identity of Westview from being that Dunk City team from last year when we had Taven and Mir and all those guys, and now we're more of a team that's more based in precision and finding ways to get guys open and less fireworks, but more things happening underneath.
Definitely. Wilborn, Otis man in the corner, down to Lance. Back to Griggs. Over to Wilborn. And it's Southeast ball off the missed bucket. Wilborn with the steal. Wilborn for three. It's no good. Southeast Southeast ball. Roland Lambert on Swindle. Jameson, and the paint gets blocked by Sincere. It looks to be a foul.
Yeah. A concern for Lincoln Southeast really is when they get pressured, when they feel the pressure, when they feel the changes, like from teams going from zone to one possession to man and switching it up, or you're going to a trap defense and do a full court press. That's when they get flustered really, and that's when the turnovers happen, and it's when they're pressured, when they can't stay in that flow state, if you will, up and down the court, and that's when the turnovers happen, and that's when things start to fall apart for Southeast. So if they can stay the course, they can sneak up on you, essentially.
For sure. Hollingsworth over to Wilborn. Back to Hollingsworth for three. It's no good. Southeast with the board. Over to Jameson. And it's Westview ball off the tip pass. Lance Smith gets the bucket with around 40 seconds left to go in the first period. Over to Gavin for the midi, no good. So foul. Got some substitutions for Westview. EJ Swindle, the man to bring the ball up. Elijah Wilborn over to Swindle again. He's gonna let the clock run. Over to Wilborn. Not able to get the bucket. Time winding down. It's no good.
And a very, weird first quarter, if you will. Southeast not looking like usual Southeast right now. It seems that they came out of the gate flustered immediately. After the little run that Westview went on.
For sure. Mostly in part for Regan Hollingsworth, his 9 points out of the gate. I mean, it's back to what you said. It's guard play. That's what it's going to come back down to. Whoever can score the most buckets will win the game in the end.
Yeah, that's true. Westview, they keep forcing these turnovers early. They keep controlling this tempo. And Swindle, keeps getting downhill consistently like he's been doing. Westview, they're looking to come out with fifth game home streak win out here against a ranked team and a ranked opponent. And that would be huge for the program for Westview as they came off a ranked win against North South.
On the road, too.
On the road, yeah. In that environment, they're known for being, very electrifying down there, very, very supportive fans that North South has. But Southeast coming off their first loss of the year, so I can see how emotionally things are feeling tense on their bench right now, as they are down 17-5 right now and the start of the second quarter.
It's Southeast ball off to Lance Smith. Air ball.
Fredericks, you know, he's one of those good cutting guards, and so is 25. Jameson Shea, he is a sophomore.
There's Grant Fredericks again with the steal. And one.
There's that matchup I told you to look out for. Patterson and Fredericks, both veteran guys. You know, they know how to play this game. They've been playing this since they're, you know, very young, and they know the game. So it's going to be, you know, a gritty matchup all game long.
He's able to get the free throw.
Keep it silent for a little bit.
And the steal as Roman Lambert able to get the bucket, putting more pressure on the Wolverines. Reagan Hollingsworth over to Patterson. Back to EJ, to Andre as he gets the bucket. Roman Lambert on Patterson. Grant. Looking to make something happen. 3-point, not good by Javis Johnson. EJ Swindle for three, and it's no good. And the bucket, good for Grant Fredericks. EJ Swindle over the Hollingsworth for three, it's no good. Andre with the rebound over to Patterson, no good. Grant on Lance. Gavin, straight to Andre, so he gets this steal, no. Grant. Verone for three, no good. There's a foul, Westview ball.
Make sure you tell who the foul's on or who the travel's on or who, you know what I mean?
EJ Swindle on Johnson. To Patterson, down to Andre. Wilborn to Swindle in the corner. 3-point, no good. Able to get the rebound. No good.
Awkward pass there by Hollingsworth. I don't think he liked that.
Whole lot going on in the paint. It's Andre with the rebound. Oh, going for the dunk is Wilborn. Is able to get the and one.
A little odd run, a little odd series there, but
Yeah.
Westview comes out with a, you know, and one opportunity here. So, yeah, a little odd basketball going on, but you know, it's expected with two teams that are very gritty in terms of, you know, how they play and how they're coached.
Definitely. I'm a little surprised Wilborn went for that, but I can't blame him.
I mean, he saw something. You gotta gotta take that shot. You know,
Yeah.
when you get that opportunity to posterize somebody, you don't wait.
Exactly. And the free throw's good. Able to get the 3 points.
Slowing down a little bit here.
Grant back to Roman. Calling for the screen. To Johnson.
What Westview really does a good job defensively is
There's a foul, and it's Westview's ball.
they do a great job, slipping off those screens and, seeing those screens and being aware in terms of, spinning off the guy or switching, guys in the moment. And they're very quick-minded, very quick thinking. That's a process that, it's been instilled from all the way back in the beginning of year one in the foundation of Westview with under their coach Mitch Runco, and that's continued to be, instilled through Freeman, their new second-year head coach Freeman.
Rebound by
Freeman.
Sincere, and the bucket is good.
Sincere, that's their guy, that quiet impact guy. He has 2 points right now, and he's a freshman, as the student section chanting. But that bucket makes all the difference.
For sure. I mean, it's just crazy. Sincere's just towering over everyone, I feel like.
Yeah, he's averaging 6 rebounds per game, and he's averaging also 2 blocks per game. So
Yeah.
that length is paying off for Westview.
For sure. Rowan with Jameson for 3, it's no good. Rebound by Lance Smith. Trying to push the tempo. Patterson, good. Able to get a bucket to push this lead forward. So foul.
If Lincoln Southeast wants to gain that, momentum back, they're going to have to find a way to get, one of their star players, Fredericks. He needs to find that rhythm again. He needs to, be that glue guy that Lance Smith is for Westview. He needs to keep the turnovers under control. In terms of, maybe, he takes the game into his own hands in some points, in some parts of the game. He's a very good rebounder, and they do have great rebounding guards. And if they can, take advantage of those opportunities, it would be best for Lincoln Southeast.
Javis Johnson able to bury both of his free throws, averaging 82% from the line.
Once the flow starts getting faster, then you can start talking.
Patterson gets rejected.
Because common misunderstanding that people where I commentate is they commentate like it's a football game. Basketball, there's a lot of silent periods, right?
Yeah.
So if you watch like college basketball, they're not always play-by-play every single possession. So like I always stress silent period. So that's why I'll do that.
Wilborn loses the ball.
As soon as he lost his footing there.
And there's a foul. It's going to take 2. Lance hoping to get that play back. As Shamar Thieler able to bring down the free throw. bury the second one. EJ Swindle burying the midi, and it's good. Able to extend the lead by 10.
Yeah, Swindle, he's dangerous when he gets those 2 feet set, you know. He's also one of the reliable guys, you know. He can put that ball wherever he wants it to, and it's usually in the bucket.
I mean, EJ Swindle, he's able to get space, and once you give him that little bit of space where he's able to set his feet, I mean, he's almost never gonna miss.
Yeah, it's dangerous in the paint when he gets those 2 feet. Sorry about that, we had a little technical difficulties. Westview up 28-20. 25 seconds left to go in the second quarter. And Regan shooting 2. Knocks down the first one, make it 29-20. And Southeast will sub in number 33 and number 5.
Trying to bring in some height, trying to get a board.
Javis Johnson, that freshman, number 5. And maybe looking to see a Hail Mary throw down the court here.
Regan is able to bury the other free throw.
Something to get the ball down the court quick. There you go, there's that Hail Mary throw. Trying to set up their offense quick. Found that space for an open 3, but couldn't knock it down. Fredericks not finding that rhythm that he needs to get into here. West is going to get the ball back. 4 seconds to make something happen. And he's fouled.
0.6 left to go.
Regan Collins, we're trying to get a 4-point play going there.
I like what Southeast's coach is trying to do there, getting Grant in space. I mean, he's Southeast bucket getter. Like, he's the guy to go to, the reliable.
Yeah, that's what I talked about. He's their go-to scorer right now. So on their team, and he's their team's whole personality. You know, he's comfortable in that leadership role, and standing at 6'4", you know, he's something special for this team.
EJ Swindle not able to bury his first free throw. not able to bury the second one. Looking for a Hail Mary. It's no good.
That would be it for your first half. Score Westview 30, Southeast 20. And, you know, if I were Westview going in a half, I'd be fairly, you know, fairly pleased with how my team's played, like you said. And, you know, they've had an exceptional performance both defensively and offensively. Offensively, if they can maintain that, you know, going forward, they can keep forcing those turnovers, keep controlling that tempo, and keep getting players downhill consistently. They're going to win this ball game. And if Lincoln Southeast changes up some things, you know, adjustments in terms of offensively and, you know, finding those open spaces better with their, you know, target players, you know, that can make all the difference. So let's just see what these teams model in coming out of half and what these coaches can cook up, essentially.
I love how Coach Freeman is able to, you know, make plays to get his playmakers in space. Like earlier in the first quarter, Regan Hollingsworth able to get in space and bury those first 3 threes.
Yeah, and they don't get a lot of credit for, you know, what they do in terms of, you know, getting these guys ready and prepared for these games. And, you know, it's a rigorous process, and, you know, they're doing it, and that's why these games are so competitive, because the coaching is just there. You know, it's been there from the get-go for both teams.
I also really like how Lincoln Southeast head coach is able to, you know, get Grant the ball. I mean, he's been their bucket getter. He is their bucket getter, and as you said, he is the personality of the team. And when he's down, I feel like Southeast may also be down as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And in that aspect, I mean, Westview, they average 68 points per game. Lincoln Southeast, they average 72 points per game, and right now at half, it's not looking like they're going to reach both those margins. The way they're both playing, it's a little sloppy, but I think that's kind of what Westview wants, because they're that disruptive team defensively. They disrupt those disciplined offenses, those efficient offenses like Lincoln Southeast has, and you know, and they curate, you know, a game plan for that purpose, and why it works is because offensively they're so balanced.
Yeah.
And they have that versatility, and they have those scores, so they can experiment defensively on trap defenses, man-to-man defenses, you know, and that's what makes this team, you know, hard to play against, you know, especially at home with, you know, a crowd like this.
Like, they're just so, like, balanced, like you said. Like, say there's a big player and he's making big shots in the paint, they'll just sub in all their big men, and they're able to, you know, make blocks and get the tough boards.
Yeah.
And, like, say they're trying to bring up the tempo and get their guys in space, they'll just put in all their fast, shifty, gritty guards.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And, you know, why they're so balanced is because they average 17 assists per game. And so it's not all about, you know, the ball just doesn't stick with one person. It's not all about one person. You know, they emphasize, you know, team basketball, and that's what you have to do at the high school level. There's not just one talented guy. It has to be a coalition of talented guys to, you know, succeed. And we've seen that a plethora through high school basketball and college basketball. We're seeing it right now. So that's kind of how you have to coach it, and a lot of teams don't realize that. But this is a team sport, and in terms of, you know, you got to have that talent everywhere, and you have to have that versatility, and that's what Westview has. And you know, they might not have the record to prove it. They might be 8-3, but they're finding themselves, you know, later in the season, and they're keeping up with those bigger teams, and they're climbing the coaches poll, and they're sneaky. They're going to be a sneaky team this year, because they're not making as much noise as they did last year, but they're going to be a sneaky team. A lot of people are writing them off because, you know, they've lost those good players that they had last year, but you can't write them off this early. I mean, the way they're playing right now, they're looking like the team from last year.
For sure. I mean, that's kind of what you expect from a team that almost gets a complete new starting five. Like, they had so many different players from last year, and I feel like players from that previous team staying with this team have been able to step up in big ways. And I also love how new players that have transferred in are also making big impacts on this team.
Yeah, Lance Smith from Westview transferred in last year. It's like he's already been here for the past 4 years.
For sure.
He has a good bond with his teammates. You know, he knows how to play all types of basketball, from gritty basketball, from selfish basketball, if you will, from, you know, drawing fouls when fouls need to be drawn. It's all those types of different versions of basketball that you need to know how to play, you know, especially at the next level, because it's not just one, you know, aspect of this game. It's all different moving parts, and you have to be able to flow with the state of the game, and that's why he's our glue guy, because he's able to flow with the state of the game. He's able to control, you know, how he sees things on the court, and his court vision is pretty good for somebody who's, you know, transferred in with the school this first year. And we saw that with Amir Martin last year. He transferred in from Bryant to Westview, and it was like he's been there 4 years too. And I think also in part is a good job by the coaching staff of Westview, you know, really making them feel at home, really getting that bonding aspect in, you know, early, and, you know, really helping them understand that, you know, this is how we're going to play basketball. Is we're going to play it as a team, and, you know, they say culture wins.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that Freeman and the coaching staff stress, is culture wins, and their culture, you know, is built on, you know, the old system of basketball is we're going to play as a team, we're going to win as a team.
Yeah. And that goes in part for, like, the coaching staff and how they've been able to develop these young guys. And I feel like not just currently, but from years to come, how these freshmen have been playing, they're going to be set.
Yeah. All right, we got about 3 minutes until the third quarter. We'll start back up here in the den, and we'll see you guys then. back to the den. Southeast taking it out.
Johnson over to his playmaker Rowan. Back to Johnson. It's Westview's ball. EJ Swindle, the man to bring up the ball. Over to Hollingsworth. Down to Lance to get that tough bucket in the paint. Grant on Lance. I mean, that's primetime television right there.
Yeah, that's a key matchup of the night.
This Grant gets the Euro into the bucket. Andre up to Swindle at the free throw line. No good. EJ not able to get as much space as he might have wanted. Johnson on Swindle. Johnson down to his big man. Gets blocked, but they call a foul on Andre.
Totally not liking that one, saying he didn't even get a hand on him, only touched the ball there. Or the ref seeing other things. Freeman talking to the ref.
As the big man not able to drill his free throw.
Trying to get each other on the same page.
Prospetti able to drill the free throw. EJ Swindle able to get the pop pass down to Lance in the corner. Over to Andre. Lance for three. It's no good. As they're able to get the rebound. And the three is short. And it's Westview's ball. They're up, man. And the bucket's good for Patterson.
Yeah, you can, I get it's high school basketball, but those little, series that they run into where, they're both playing sloppy. But Westview continues to come out with some points in those little sloppy series, so that just shows you how, that's kind of how they're coaching it. I mean, that's kind of how their, style of ball is. It's kind of like backyard ball. They're playing, together and for each other, and that's why they've been winning these weird possessions.
Lance Smith able to get his own rebounds. Rowan Lambert. The bucket's good.
Strong effort by Smith there, and Southeast will call a timeout. 30-second timeout.
Swindle. Demand to bring the ball up. Over to Lance. Swindle in the corner. Three is good.
When he gets those 2 feet there, I'm telling you, man, it's almost like it's automatic. And that's why he's one of those players. He's going to develop well for this team. He's only a freshman,
for sure,
which is insane. to just say how big of his impact he's had despite his age. He's going to continue to have that impact if he stays with Westview all 4 years.
Chavis Johnson for three, and it's far.
Yeah, Freeman got a star in the making with that player. Freshman on varsity making this big of an impact. He's going to be something special.
Patterson. And Hollingsworth able to bury his first three of the second half. A solid 14 points in this ball game.
Yeah, they're just going out of the timeout, a 6-0 series right there. And it's almost the same for Hollingsworth too. He was a younger guy last year, and once he gets those 2 feet set, he can put that ball right where he wants it. It's usually the basket.
The Euro step around the defender for Gavin Kubik. Lance over to EJ Swindle. Lance over to Andre for three, and it's short. Hollinger to get the rebound, and Lance gets the
Great
bucket.
Hustle by Regan Hollingsworth. Southeast going to need to find some momentum here.
Chavis Johnson gives it to his open man. Able to get the rebound. Just jump. Gavin Kubik, the very tall, but he can also play shooting guard.
Yeah, Westview right now seems like they're running away with this game. Westview has 6 wins by 25 plus points this season, so that's something to keep handy.
It's Grant able to get the and one. Grant Fredericks. As we said, he is the soul of the team, so once he starts to get hot, I wouldn't be surprised if the Knights will also get hot. And the rebound
Bounced off Gavin's head.
Patterson for three.
Mr. Reliable.
Big Hollingsworth, I mean.
Mr. Reliable, that's the guy. He keeps those games. He keeps Westview in those tough situations in those games, and he helps Westview run away with those scoring.
Grant to get another one. I like how Westview, as the Knights, able to get a tough bucket and an and one, and then Hollingsworth or Lance Smith just to shush them, to get a bucket.
It's their whole personality. It's so balanced. You know what I mean? And they can accept those mishaps that happen on defense from time to time because they know they can respond offensively.
For sure.
And that's why this team and this personality is so sneaky, because they're so versatile.
You stop one thing, they're just gonna hit you with the other. EJ Swindle, the Hollingsworth, the go-to guy, and to get the midi. As you said, don't let him set his 2 feet because he's gonna hit you with
19 points on the night. Regan Hollingsworth with a pair of 3 threes.
Rowan Lambert trying to match it. Not able to get it. There's a foul.
James Johnson, their freshman guard, really shifty guard. He's a secondary scorer, but he's young and fearless, and he leads the team in assists and steals, and he's a great rebounder, and he's going to be big if he makes these free throws here.
For sure.
Keep that momentum up.
I mean, his stats say it's pretty much 50-50 from here for him at the line. Wouldn't be shocked if he makes this one because he missed the first one. able to drain the second one, like I said.
Still 50-50. 50% from the free throw line.
EJ to Wilborn. Then they get the midi, and it's no good. Seiler to Koblik. Down to his big man. Sincere Walker Brown with the rebound.
Southeast is having a tough time in the paint today. And, you know, with how many guys they have, how much length they have compared to this Westview team, I mean, you would think that they'd be dominating the paint right now. You think that they'd almost have to, you know, start designing plays where they can get guys open on beyond the arc because they're getting so many, you know, so they're seeding so much in the paint, but it's not like that today, and it's different today. For Southeast, I think that's what's dragging them down, is not being able to dominate the paint against this
For sure.
team.
As the pass stolen by Grant is able to get the two-handed jam to cut this Wolverine leads to 10.
A little momentum there. This has been a methodical third quarter.
Regan Hollingsworth, it's inevitable. He's gonna get the bucket with this 2 feet set.
It's you know, they're able to respond. You know, Frederick's hit him with a dunk, you know, off a bad pass, and you know, Westview able to shake it off, come back and respond, and you know, they have, you know, what I like to call memory of a goldfish. You know, don't remember the lows, only remember the highs. And in terms of, you know, if something bad happens, forget about it, go to the next play. And that's what Westview does good.
It's on to the next.
Why they're so good at responding and staying in those close games.
Swindle, the man to make something happen. Swindle down to Lance, in the paint with the bucket. 30 seconds left to go in the third period. Rowan on Swindle. That matchup. Rowan gets the bucket. Once you think the Knights are down and out of the count, they just get back up and keep fighting with that and one. And the free throw is good. And Colston Copples able to sub in for Andre Tarpley. EJ Swindle with a Colston. Down the Lance. As they're gonna get the foul.
And a weird tumble by Fredericks.
Ooh, he does not look good.
To the bench, he doesn't look.
That is a tough break for the Knights.
You gotta hope he's okay. He did not look like a enjoyable fall, enjoyable roll there.
Trying to stretch it out, but I don't know. Lance Smith able to bury his first free throw. And he's going to go into the back. Grant. I hope he's okay, man. I mean, he's just the lifeblood of the Knights, so I don't know how they're going to respond and who's going to be the guy to step up.
Looks like he went to the locker room. Oh, he's coming back out. I think he's gonna just walk it off a little bit.
Lance able to bury the second one. EJ Swindle able to get the bucket after the technical difficulties. We should be back up and running. The big man, Zemski, able to get the bucket. EJ Swindle. Over to Wilborn. And it's still Wolverines ball. Wilborn in space. Gonna lose the ball, but it's still Westview with possession. I mean, I feel this has somewhat been uncharacteristic for the Knights as of late. Swindle.
Yeah, definitely.
Down his man.
You know, Westview coming in, they said, let's make it a sloppy game because we know that the Knights, we know that Southeast is a team that succeeds in you know, those games that, you know, they're calculated and they're more efficient. So let's you know, spice things up a bit essentially and make them flustered from the get-go.
For sure. James Johnson gonna lose the ball. And Johnson gonna bury the three, able to cut the lead to 10. Could it be too late? You never know. Jay Swindle. Not able to bury is Johnson. Gonna get blocked by Lance Smith. That's what I love about his game. He will just run across the court, multiple possessions, get steals, blocks, buckets. He's just all around. Genke. Gonna get the foul.
Patterson with the charge.
Patterson, he's also all around. I mean, he's tough, physical, not afraid to take those charges.
And what's really, good about this team, and
Regan not gonna get the ball as it's stolen by Johnson with the bucket.
what's good about this Westview team is they get back on defense so quick and so fast. And you saw Patterson there just take that charge, and he ran back on defense because he knew he didn't have to take that ball out. He's just ready to play. Sorry, he ran back on offense. He's just ready to get that offense started.
Patterson's bucket short off the front of the rim. Johnson on Hollingsworth, and the three is good. The late game resurgence from the Gold Knights.
Southeast finding some light in the darkness right now, finding some light at the end of the tunnel.
It seems that Javis Johnson has been the guy to step up to the plate and find some identity for the Knights.
Yeah, he's a freshman. He's young but fearless, like I said, and he's going to be that, that glue that holds them together. As this game comes to an end, and you can play a sloppy game all you want, but when it matters most is those final minutes. Who's going to come out the warrior of this game
For sure.
and who's going to come out who's going to come out punching first really is the whole fact of the matter is in this aspect of we could talk play calling, we could talk getting guys open in space. What really matters is how you play the game.
For sure.
When it's in that it's reached that state of where it's not about certain points. It's about getting the ball back on offense, getting the ball back on defense, responding, and that's what basketball is. It's a consistent. It's a Ferris wheel. It keeps going round and round. And who's going to be the team that comes away with this? Going to be the team that fights to the end.
What I feel is they put Javen Johnson on Hollingsworth as a multitude of things just aspired. Greg's not able to get the three and a foul on the Knights. I mean, that 5-on-5 matchup, they're going to be going at it for the rest of this game. And you've been spot on this whole time. You said in the beginning, guard play is going to be what's come down to it, and guard play is the reason why the Knights are back in this game.
Yeah, most definitely. These two teams, believe it or not, are very, they're very similar, in terms of, their schedules. And tonight's going to be that measuring stick of what team is the true, warrior in that sense. And Lincoln Southeast is 5-0 versus common opponents. Westview's 2-1 versus common opponents. And so, this will be that game to define.
Lance with the block. As the big man down low, Mukendi able to get the putback.
And Southeast sneaking up here. Not making a whole lot of noise, not making crazy runs, but they're sneaking up. And that's a product of those rebounding guards that they got.
As Westview's trying to find a mismatch. DJ Swindle down to Griggs, but it's stolen by Johnson. Over to his other playmaker, Rowan Lambert. And they cut this lead to 2. Moments ago, it felt like the Knights were down and out. Their number one guy is injured. Johnson able to step up in a big way.
Westview's going to need to respond here, but Southeast, doing their due diligence with this Westview team.
What a response! Like you said, Griggs with the 3.
Tyre Bebe Griggs, that was a big three in the moment for him.
EJ Swindle with the block. With the
And the
big
tempo
man.
has ramped up 10 times.
Andre Tarplay with the rebound. Lance over to Griggs again. He's not going to bury that one this time. Rowan Lambert with the rebound, trying to push the tempo, and there's a foul.
And yeah, Westview, they respond to, those runs. They respond to chaos because they create chaos and they're so used to it. And so Southeast, they're an efficient team. So when they get that moment where they can find they can do their due diligence and find what's going to help them win this game.
For sure.
They'll sneak up on you in that way.
But also with that creating madness, it could backfire on you like it might have just now with them trying to push the tempo has actually kind of hurt them not being as good in transitional defense.
Most definitely. And I also feel as if, it's more about late in the game, it's more about who has control. Who has control. We've seen this in every basketball game. Who has control late in the game usually wins the ball game.
Yeah.
And right now, we saw Southeast go on that little run. Westview responded, so no one really has firm control right now. But in these last 3 minutes, who's gonna have that control? Who's gonna take this ball out and start scoring, start going on runs? Or who's gonna take the ball out slowly and create a tempo, that benefits them? And I believe that if Westview, slows down the tempo a little bit, it's gonna hurt them. If they keep the tempo and the pressure up on Southeast, it's going to help them. And in terms of how efficient Southeast plays, they're used to that slow tempo kind of.
Yeah. Johnson with the tough bucket.
They're used to that slow tempo kind of. See everybody get back on defense, kind of Creighton University reminiscent as well.
For sure. Lance in the pick and pop. Lance looking to get Griggs in space again. PJ Wilborn will get the layup, and it's no good. Rebounded by Jamison. Johnson on Swindle. Not able to get the bucket, but he gets his own rebound. Jamison for three, and it's no good. I mean, this game is going to end up coming down to who can push the tempo, like who can control the momentum of the game. And I feel like the Knights are ever so crawling back to a lead. Their guy, Hollingsworth, in the paint off the EJ Swindle pass. Johnson gonna get double teamed. Just open man, and it's good. Grant Fredericks.
There's that execution and that efficiency, that discipline, staying in spacing, not getting flustered when teams come at them with those pressures in those moments.
And I love how Johnson has built up a reputation in this game enough to result in a double team just short of the three. The Den's not loving that call, the no call, but the bucket is good. What has just transpired as the Knights able to tie the game up with 1:15 to go? Freeman gonna take a timeout. What is is going on?
Now this is basketball. This is basketball right here. This is where men are made essentially.
Yeah.
What team is gonna get in this huddle and say, all right, this is what we got to do, and actually execute. This is where men are made right here in these final moments of this game. They got a full timeout. We got guys, tired. They've been running up and down this court. This is where men are made. And this is who we get to see who really earns it tonight. Who really earns to be in the final moments of this game. We get to see who really earns the respect out of both teams.
For sure. And it's a game of control at the very end. Welcome back off the technical difficulties, and there seems to be some discussion over some calls, disagreements between fans, coaches. This is the grittiness that we've been talking about this whole time.
These final moments, the Knights haven't had a lead in this game yet. I'm kind of surprised, but in these final moments, anything could happen, and so I'm expecting a few lead changes here in the final 41 seconds. And 41 seconds of basketball in basketball is 2 minutes in real time or 3 minutes in real time.
For sure.
So expect a few sloppy things and fouls and like that, and weird possessions going on here, but I'm expecting a few lead changes, and it's all going to come down to who can play better under pressure.
Yeah, when the lights are on, that's when it mostly matters. As the big man able to jump that pass. I mean, I'd imagine they'd want to get the ball in the Hollingsworth hands, and I imagine the Knights wouldn't want that to happen.
Yeah, Westview trying to be methodical here, running out the clock. Maybe we won't see a few lead changes, but I think they're going to try something where they run out the clock and try to get a point at the last second, unless they take it or take it into overtime, which is smart on the coaching part on Freeman, which means Westview has control in the late game here.
For sure.
And this is where we get to see who's going to win this game. He sets his 2 feet. He's reliable. He's reliable. I've been saying it all night. He's reliable. When Regan Hollingsworth sets his 2 feet, he's the best three-point shooter on the team and possibly the best three-point shooter in Nebraska. He's reliable. He's the Stephen Curry of the era for Westview. And he once he gets those 2 feet set, I mean, it's like nothing I haven't seen in a while. And I saw that going in. I saw those 2 feet getting set. I said, that's going in because of how reliable this guy is.
I mean, Coach Freeman,
beyond the arc, I mean, man.
Coach Freeman able to get Hollingsworth in space. That's just masterful coaching. A great play design.
That's controlled, that's calculated, and that's basketball right there. That's how basketball is played in these late games. Has to be controlled, has to be calculated. You'd expect some lead changes, right? But you know, they took the methodical, meticulous approach. They curated a plan. And they went out and executed, and like I said, this is where men are made, and this is where we get to see what team, deserves the outcome that comes in the end of this game.
The Knights have yet to even have a scoring lead, but I feel like they've just always been, crawling down, calling up the Wolverines back, itching closer. Hollingsworth not letting that happen.
Now let's see what they got defensively here, Westview. You can be super excited for what just happened, but basketball, it's a game of milliseconds essentially. Yeah. You can do a Hail Mary pass, shoot a 3, and be back in this game. So let's see what they got planned defensively here.
Johnson, the reliable.
They're gonna send everybody back, and he's gonna foul him immediately. Smart call on that part.
I love the coaching by Freeman in this 4th quarter. Able to rely on his guys. I mean, Hollingsworth just been able to make all these threes beyond the arc, and EJ Swindle making himself a distraction enough to pull the defense away from him. I mean, that is like a belief in his players that they will make that shot when the lights are the brightest.
They said give it to old reliable, and you won't be disappointed.
For sure. I mean, I'd imagine the Knights would love to get it into the hands of Grant, the heart and soul of the Knights offense and team. I mean, what a second half of basketball between both teams.
I mean, truly, yeah. And we'll see how the Knights respond, emotionally after what just happened. Offensively, they've got to have a strategic plan here.
For sure.
And Freeman going to call another timeout. Smart call on his behalf, trying to see what they come out in. And this has been a very, chaotic game, but a controlled chaos coming into the end.
Yeah.
And it seems closer than it is, but from the start, it looked like Westview was gonna come out and obliterate it. But it's just that's how the Knights are. They do their due diligence. They find out what kind of team you are, and then they go out and execute the plan, and they kind of adjust on the fly.
For
let's
sure.
see if they can do that in these last 3 seconds. I imagine if they have something here, they'd need to execute it to a T.
Definitely. I mean, basketball, like you said, is a game of milliseconds. Get to their guy Grant, the playmaker, and it's not good.
And the game's over. Westview will win 66-63. MVP of the night, Regan Hollingsworth.
For sure.
Definitely. This is a great game. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We'll see you back here
Thursday.